Opening ceremony is from 3:30 to 4:30 or something like that. Yes, but yes.
4 to 5. 4 to 5.
4 to 5, and then 5 to 7. So. Yes.
Hey, you're up. What's up, guys?
Hello.
I'm a huge fan. I love all you guys.
Thank you.
My dream is to be a voice actor as well. Quick question. So when did you guys first realize, like, this is it? This is what I want to do for a living, voice acting?
About 2 years after I've been doing it.
And what did you guys do exactly to prepare your demo reel to send into specific agencies?
Okay, let me start off, because I kind of found my way into this business in a very, very odd way that I would not suggest you model yourself after. I was an actor when I was very young. I did a lot of stage stuff when I was a kid and so on and so forth, because again, back to the stutter thing, I took speech therapy for a long time and found my way into acting through that, because whatever, I loved it. But when the time came for me to pick a career, I decided against it, because it takes a very courageous person to pursue acting. And I'm not a very courageous person. So I had a whole other career going on. I hadn't done any sort of acting in about 10 years when a gentleman by the name of Chris Bevins, who's a dear friend of mine who works for Funimation, yes indeed, called me up one day and said, hey, I'd like you to come and do audition for this part. It's a fairly big part, and but I know you have an acting background. I'd love to hear what you've got. And I said, oh my God, that's amazing. You're so cool. No way in hell. And he wore me down for like 2 weeks. I kind of begged off of the idea, and finally said yes, because he threatened to kill me. Not entirely kidding there, but so I came in, and we had this 4-hour-long audition, which I was like, this is insane, 4 hours audition. All my experience was stage. We get like 2-3 minutes to read a monologue, and then out comes the shepherd's hook, and poof, off you go, and you'll never hear from these people again. So we did 4 hours in the booth, and I came out of there and signed what I thought was a non-disclosure agreement. I didn't read it, my first mistake. And I said something to the effect of like, how the hell do you people get anything done if it takes you 4 hours to audition every part? He's like, oh, I didn't. It took us 10 minutes. We actually just recorded the first 6 episodes, and you just signed a contract, so screw you, you're an actor. And so that's how I got into it, and I started getting work on the side. I was, I worked in marketing forever, and would come in on like the weekends and evenings to work on various things, and then finally I was getting enough work that they said, would you like to, you should really consider doing this full time, and I just kind of came to a crossroads. It took me a very long time to make that change, but I did. So I've come to it backwards, because I only recently finally got around to making a demo reel and being picked up by an agency and on all this. That was I've been doing this stuff for like, what, 10 years now? And I just got an agent. I finally just got an agent about like 6 months ago. It took me a while, because I wasn't looking for one. I basically support myself as an adaptive writer, and I had so much work with Funimation and doing video games and stuff that I was like, agent, why do I need one of those? And everyone's like, because you need one. I'm like, okay, I'll get around to it, and I finally did. And so I made my demo reel, and now I'm very glad I did. I wish I'd done it about 6-7 years ago. But, so yeah, my trajectory in this business is kind of the opposite of what most people should follow. You should have a demo reel and get picked up by an agency first. Don't wait around basically until you're like 28 years old and have somebody just kind of go, hey, and then like get yourself tricked into it. Don't, because the chances of that happening are pretty stupidly nil. So yeah, I don't know. You guys have anything to add to that?
I also got into the business when I was 5. So I wanted to be on Barney, and I would do commercials in the bathtub in front of that little disc, like it was a camera. And so I knew that this is what I wanted to do when I was a kid, and it was just convincing my mom. So she took me to a callback or an open call for Miracle on 34th Street, and there were like 1,000 to 3,000 kids there from Dallas alone, and I made it to the top like 11, my first audition, and I was like, Mom, I want to do this, and her goal was to be like, see, it's hard, we have to wait all day, and it's not going to go well, and well, that didn't work out for her. So then I ended up getting an agent when I was 6, and I fell into voiceover because I sounded like a kid, but I could read really fast, and all that was required of a 7-year-old to sound like a 3-year-old was that you could read. So I've just been doing voiceover since I was a kid, and then as I grew up, I'm sure you've experienced this as well, you have to like reinvent yourself when you go from a kid to an adult. And that's when I had to start getting demo reels, and so I was finding that out. But luckily I had people that had hired me and worked with me when I was younger that kind of took the reins and guided me through that. And I had an agent. And then I started working at Funimation when I was 18. So everything just kind of like fell into my lap. I started working at Radio Disney when I was 8. So like all these weird things just fell into place So I really don't know how you should go about it. I mean, like you said, I would assume a demo first, and you could submit it to Funimation or agencies and dubbing places to get work. But I don't know. When you start as a kid, you kind of luck out in some ways, but then you have to reinvent, so it's a weird thing.
Yeah, I started as a kid also. I would watch my dad work. My dad was a voice actor. Thanks. Yeah, he was on Power Rangers. This is actually the story of how I started. He was Rito Revolto, this skeleton dude on Power Rangers, and he played tons and tons of characters, and he would just go to work and come back just like a normal job. And one day, I was watching him work, and it was super entertaining, and the director said, "Hey, we need a kid's voice." And my dad's like, "Oh, he's a pro, throw him in there, throw Bryce in the booth." And I got thrown in, and that's how I started. So, but you do have to reinvent yourself a lot, and I'm actually about to start again to put together a new demo reel.
Yeah,
so you are always recreating and adding to and growing as an actor. I think you grow forever as an actor.
And you always have to keep proving yourself. I think with every audition, even if you've worked with somebody like a million times, I know that I've worked with clients like since I was 7 or 8, and then when I turned 16, there were 20 and 30-year-olds that I then had to prove myself again, and then when I started doing industrial copy, I had to keep proving myself again. So the hurdles are constantly and then when I moved out to LA, and I started working in Dallas and LA, I had to break into the market all over again, and I'm still kind of breaking into LA, meeting new people, and everybody's used to working with the people that they've worked with and they have relationships with. So you just have to keep proving yourself and keep reinventing and keep going on it and pounding the pavement. And sometimes it sucks. And you cry.
Yes.
But then you go, I love this business and I don't want to do anything else and I don't think I can do anything else. And that's how you know if you really want to stay in it. So.
Thank you.
It's important, I think, to realize too, and I'll just finish it off by saying that there are no hard and fast rules for how to get into this business, or let alone stay in the business once you're there. I mean, it's really, really tricky. It's highly competitive.
Yeah.
Well, any creative field is going to be, because those are the fun jobs and those are the jobs everybody wants. So I've often been asked by people, I want to dub anime, and I'm like, that's awesome and that's flattering to hear, but that's a little like saying you want to be an architect so you can design bathroom doorknobs. The fact is, if you want work, if you want to be able to support yourself as an actor, you have to cast your net as widely as possible, which means be willing to do all sorts of acting. If you have no experience acting, go take workshops, go to school, show up to a theater, because theater people, gypsies that they are, man, if you just show up with like a hammer and nails and say, hey, I'd love to help you guys build sets, they will put your butt to work, and you build up contacts that way, and maybe eventually you'll get a chance to audition.
And they'll remember the favor.
Theater
Everybody's
majors.
very, very loyal, I would say, in this
Absolutely,
business.
absolutely.
If you help them, they'll help you.
Yeah. So it's really about finding your own way. I mean, there's a few things you always have to do, like the demo reel and things like that, but keeping yourself sharp and reinventing yourself constantly, as we all do. But other than that, you kind of have to find your own path. Everyone gets into this business and stays in it according to the rules they learn on the fly. There is no blueprint, sadly, or actually, I think that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
So if you're in love with the idea of an adventurous life where you're not always sure where your next paycheck is coming from, by all means, be an actor. Because it can be fun, but you have to be realistic about it. And for God's sakes, always have like 9 backup plans.
Yes.
Always.
Definitely.
Yes.
Good question, man. Good question. And good luck to you.
Thank you.
Me and my sister were wondering about this question, and we came up with this question like months before the anime convention, and this is for you, Mr. Tatum.
How did I know this?
we were wondering if you can make France and Sebastian flirt with each other.
You totally knew this is coming, Tatum. Are you a psychic?
Were you listening earlier?
Yes, I was. I was listening to all of it.
Oh my God. I don't know. See, France would flirt with anyone, so of course it's very easy for him to say, oh, you know what, I like you even though you're British. Because I don't like the Brits very much. I mean, I do, but he would be like, oh, Sebastian, you're so sexy, so tall, dark and handsome, I love your eyes. Would you sign this calendar? And Sebastian would be like, you're rather strange, but you know what, I'm used to people like Grell, so I think we can make this work. But Sebastian doesn't, I mean, what would Sebastian say? Like, oh, sorry, there was a bug. And cut to use your imagination.
And we love that line too. There was a bug. We love that line. I reenact that line all the time, and it makes me and my sister laugh so hard. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's very sweet of you. There was a bug.
Hi.
So how did that become a pickup line?
Okay,
Right?
so this question is for J. Michael Tatum. Okay, so I've been watching the new season of Italia, The Beautiful World, and I cannot get this question out of my mind. When is The Beautiful World ever gonna get an English dub?
God, are you kidding? I have no idea. I mean, if we were already working on it, I couldn't say anything. I don't know.